this was. So back in 2011, I was working at Stunlock Studios, and the lead concept artist, we were talking about what games we could do next. And even before 2011, like I must have been like 2009, I pretty much said like I want to do an FPS, action FPS game. And I want it to be, you know, kind of awesome and sporty in style, but with emphasis around esports and competitive play. You know, single player, not single player campaign, but the ability to do like just, you know, multiplayer, like anything from 1v1 teams and all this other shit. And when I was working at Bloodline Champions, I developed like a tournament system, probably around before 2011 it got released, and it's still really good. So this was actually done by Johan Baxter back in like 2011, and even years before this I already had this game in my mind and was planning it out and all this other shit. So it's been a really long time, and I haven't given up, which is really good, because giving up sucks, and all that shit. So this weekend I actually finally have some new concepts getting done for the robot, oddly enough by the same guy who did this, because I spoke to him only the other day and asked him, and I said we're going in this kind of direction. And I've been working on some like I've got a shot called Bad Info. Like, you have to understand that, you know, game development is done in various different ways. When you don't have much money, you do what you want. So the robot that I've asked the concept, and you guys can give me feedback if you want on this. This is like, I do stupid stuff like this where I just like write stuff down. So the idea of our robot that I wanted was a kind of a Iron Man meets Tron, just because the robot should be a robot and not a human to avoid any 18 pluses. The Tron lines will help establish kind of team colors, and it's really important for Quake players or anybody who wants a team game that you actually have visible team colors from bottom of the feet all the way to the top of the head. This robot here is actually something we had done by Tallyword Games that wasn't finished, but I just kind of overlaid a little Tron lines on it just to see what the idea was. There's actually going to be probably about 4 robots that you'll be able to play, and each one will have distinctive gameplay in physics and weaponry. So some of them might look a little bit bulkier, or some of them might look a little bit slimmer, and they'll have their own uniqueness. So it's kind of like, okay, Iron Man meets Tron, that's my robot theme. And I was like, okay, I'm happy with this. It's really good. Because we want to go the same route where the community can make content. So for example, if this is your robot, you'll have the ability for a Nooksy to make you a head or a skin, and, you know, like the lines will be different. You know, maybe this line will be like a Fnatic logo or something, and you'll have like the ability to cosmetic your robot based off lines and also colors and logos. So we open up the ability for the community to help generate robots. The other thing I've been working on is a HUD. So this is actually a screenshot of our map editor. This is just a screenshot. Because I'm making the HUD, I'm not very good at a HUD. The idea with the robots is that each robot will be its own kind of division, like light, medium, and heavyweight, if you know what I mean. So light robots will play light robots in combat, and then medium. And if the gameplay works okay, we might cross match them. There's a lot of like stuff that, like, threads of interest that we don't know how we're going to follow. But anyway, this is actually the game. It's a really shitty screenshot because there's no artwork. The coder has pretty much made this all by himself. You know, so like this pillar here looks like it's from the 90s Juice X because it's just a block. But we've been working on the map editor. Yeah, so you've been fragged by, not fatality. These are just, you know, horrible bars. But this is all horrible. But the idea with the HUD, it doesn't actually matter what the HUD I'm going to do is, because the HUD will be similar to like software for your robot. In the essence, like, we'll give you a couple of HUDs that you can play with, right? And I've stole like lots of this as inspiration, but it's it hasn't been finished ahead. I'm just this design process. This is like the stage that we're in. So the HUD here is like overly complex in shapes and looks pretty shitty to anybody who wants to play competitive. But you're also like if HUDs are kind of your software for your robot, people will be able to develop their own HUDs. So you guys will be able to move the HUD around, or you'll be able to like get a custom HUD by an artist who has done something really nice. And yeah, these environment props, I can load the game and show you the little map editor, but this is basically like really simplified, like shitty version of our like what our map editor does right now, because we're actually developing the game kind of full time now, which is completely different. For the last year and a half, we have not developed the game full time whatsoever, and we've actually changed engine 3 times. We had Cube, and then we had Source, and now this is our own engine. So the idea of the HUD I wanted to do to kind of match the theme of the Tron meets Iron Man robots that you'll get is kind of like simplified, and the community actually are super helpful, and they pointed me to G-Monk, and I actually was looking around at HUDs and I was like, okay, you've got kind of like 3 styles. You've got Wipeout style, which is arcadey. Just to give you an idea, Wipeout's a very fast game. It uses arcadey HUDs to make it quite visible when you're moving really quick. So you've got an arcade style of HUD. And then you've got like what a lot of gamers were using, which was just like the really neon blue bullshit, which I hated, which was kind of like, I guess, what games were using a lot of neon blue? I think almost every futuristic game was using neon blue. Warframe uses it constantly, and then another game uses it, which is XCOM, and it was okay. So I was like, okay, for the default HUD, let's try and take something from the movies. And actually, G-Monk was a really good inspiration, and the community pointed me to him. He was the guy that kind of did stuff for Oblivion, and this is why, I just took his stuff and was like, okay, I can't design, so I'll just make a shit HUD myself. And even the weapons here don't correspond to what weapons are actually in game right now, because there aren't really weapons in game right now. Well, there is. We have Instagib just to kid each other on because we get bored. But actually, movies are far ahead than game developers, I find, when it comes to like HUDs, etc. So either way. Yeah, so and then we're really early on in development, because it kind of feels like we didn't start developing the game until now. So let me see. Reborn. So this is like a debug version. I made a shitty map that I jump around on. I don't know if it's gonna load or your guys will be able to see it. So this is not really the intro screen that it's gonna be. This is just a screen that the coder made, so no artwork. Please remember. Yeah. So it might look. It's really laggy on my PC right now for some reason. It's like running at 12 FPS, which is not normal. So this is like the map editor to create maps. I wonder why it's lagging so much. Probably because we haven't optimized it for stream. But basically, it feels like you build maps in Minecraft right now. I don't know if I'm going to get this to run properly, because it's taking from window rather than thingy. Let me see if I can close it and take a source. I doubt a source would be able to work. Well, you build maps firstly in architecture with blocks, but the blocks can be any shapes and sizes, so they don't have to be like 32 times 32. So you can build like curves and everything, and it creates the collision for them. And then you go into a second grid, which is a finer grid, where you put stuff in like static meshes to make detail for the map. Like, for example, that was my map I made, James Box. It was just to test physics, etc. and lighting. And that was the game without, like, because we have to bake the game because we use static lighting. So let me see if I can... Yeah, my desktop's always like this. Let me try and see if OBS will let me load the map up. Edit scenes. Let's get rid of the monitor capture and unclick that. Click that. Let's try and load Reborn. And let's see if I can capture it. I'm kind of happier to show you guys like this rather than someone build a massive hype train to the game when really we're just a very indie developer, and the fact that I haven't given up on making the project is beyond my expectations of a human while juggling my other 3 companies and paying wages to 7 people. So okay, where am I going? I need to add something. Game capture. I doubt it's going to detect. Oh, it did detect. Let's see if that works. I've never actually done this before with the game, so okay, I did game capture Reborn. That didn't work. That didn't work. But I have 180 FPS now, which suggests my PC isn't dying. Okay, let's close these. Monkey 2. Okay. Monkey 3. I'm just saving PSD files I'm working on. Monkey 4. Monkey 5. Sure. Sorry, I had like 20 Photoshops open, so they're called monkey upwards. Okay. Right. I guess I might have to capture the game map editor as it is from monitor source, because that didn't work. Oh, that's my... Oh wait, what have I done? I've turned off my webcam. Okay, well, whatever. So, either way, this is where we've been kind of playing around with, and Firefrog, as I call him, has been working on multiple different things. But basically, this is the map editor. I just press F and I fly. I want to create, you know, like stuff. I can just like select things, and then I have options of shapes I can put in if I want. Make ramps or whatever. But let's just make a floor, and then I'm like, sweet, make this, and then yeah, do that. So yeah, so this is kind of like the simple blocking out, which will allow you to create stuff. There aren't all the shapes in there, and we don't have a lot of textures because we don't have any artwork, because we're poor, but you know, it still kind of does its job. And yeah, and then so you know, this is kind of nice because actually the physics in this game are quite recognizable right now. These are just the physics that I use in the map editor to jump around. You can probably tell what they are, but yeah. Yeah, and then so it's basically static lighting to make it really run pretty fast. Like if I don't run this when I'm not streaming, and this is a debug version of the game rather than, you know, I get like 700 FPS. And then, you know, the reason we want static lighting so far is just because it makes the game run super fast, which means people can stream it. Obviously, there will have to be parts dynamic in terms of like the robot colors, and also if you fire something down a corridor that gives off lighting. So it kind of feels a bit Minecrafty to make a map right now. And there's no HUD in the game, and there's, as I mentioned, there's no artwork. This is all stuff that the coder's been working on without any resources. and yeah, so we've made this much, and the game does a lot of stuff outside of the map editor, but it's kind of, this is just what we have. And then I made this map, so I was playing with lights just to see what kind of, because this was one of the first maps I made. So I bake it. You can bake in anything from like 1 to 32 quality. Obviously, the higher you bake, the longer it will take. So I can just bake it in like quality 8 or something, and you'll see baking. Yeah, the maps are meant to be holodecks as well, and then they build the map out, so it's a bit Star Trek-y rip-off, I guess. But the idea is this will look like a holodeck, just like the size of the map, and then when you load it, it will build up the map. So as I mentioned, there's meant to be 2 sets of blocks. The first set of blocks is meant to be your architect blocks, which is kind of like mapping the map out, and you can have things in the block that are smaller, and then you'll have like a second set of blocks, which will be kind of how the lights work, because these lights right here are basically floating. So the second set of blocks will be floating, so you can put, like, if you want to build a map, you can put monitors on the walls up here, or interesting stuff to make it look non-shitty. Yeah, and then that's what you would do. So yeah, this is the map editor, and so basically what we're working on now is just like getting the map editor to do everything we want, because that way the community will be able to make maps. And the idea is we want the community to be able to play with maps, play with cosmetics, run tournaments, and the other one was HUDs. And then eventually, a lot later on, if we're capable of doing it, we want the community to be able to maybe even play with gameplay physics, which will allow, say, someone to make a very different game than the original gameplay that we introduced with Reborn. So if you want something more run and gunny in terms of like a Call of Duty, if this is a holodeck, you could probably get an art style that fits a modern warfare kind of game, and then you could simply change the movement and change the physics, and then you've got a game made by the community within Reborn. But we're obviously going to be focusing on action FPS, which is, you know, kind of to replace the FPS Quake scene and you know, the kind of like Unreal Tournament and Quake era, and hopefully take it to the next level. And there's lots of gameplay that we've looked into, like threads of interest, and so we're working kind of on that. But yeah, I just made this map just because I was like, yeah, okay. It actually was based off a, I think it's a Quake World map where you spawn here, and you just fight with weapons. So I was actually going to use it to test the weapons, but when I made it, I was just like, yeah, I'll throw in some lights and see what they look like. But yeah, so we're working on it, and to be honest, like, I think maybe in the next couple of months I might even be able to get a website up and a robot and some particle effects, and then maybe get to Kickstarter. But I wouldn't mind even doing kind of a Reborn show. I wouldn't mind doing a Reborn show where I kind of like talk to you guys once every 2 weeks and show you what we've been working on, and actually opening up to potentially even donations, just because that way we reduce the need for a hefty like load on Kickstarter, because I don't believe Kickstarter is necessarily the way that we would want to go or something. So, you know, it's Kickstarter's okay and all, but I think it's kind of not as cool anymore. But yeah. Gonna make a statue of myself, and the artist should be able to create, like, you know, things like statues, and then, you know, you just drop one and it will, you know, take up how much room it takes, and then work out the collision. Or maybe if they want to, they can set the collision themselves. But as I said, I'm not a tech monkey, so me explaining stuff is not the best. Yeah, so that's it really. Not much. We bought this background for €11 just so we didn't get depressed making maps and playing with the engine, because otherwise it was all black. And yeah, kill myself before I hit the ground. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm awesome. This is a physics that, yeah, we tested like every physics that we known to FPS gamers. So I kept this one in for the map editor so I could play around because I still haven't finalized the Reborn physics yet. So yeah, who knows? Either way, we'll see how far this goes. And you know, a lot of people will be disappointed that this is it right now. You know, apart from the other 150,000 lines of code that you aren't seeing yet, but this is kind of like all there's really showable. But next stage is art and yeah, getting it all kind of polished up. But it's going alright. I really like jumping around. And I'm fucking awesome at it. Okay, I'm not that good at it. Alright. The physics, this is not our physics, this is just physics for me to jump. You know, like, it's kind of nice because if I'm like, I want to test the distance of a room, like I'd be like, okay, you know, if the model's X high and, you know, let's just see, like, okay, this will be, okay, that's 2 jumps, I want that to be longer, so I'll click here and then I can push the, oops, I can actually just like click here and then it would take that moment and I can just push the map back to make it bigger by pressing P, or I can bring it towards me so I can be like, okay, 1, yeah, then I need it a little bit more, press P. And the map editor is meant to be a big feature of the game where it's going to have like menus. It's kind of like if you think Gary's mod kind of meets Minecraft, map editor, all that kind of shizzle. Now I broke my map, it's really ugly now. Let's make this more. Yeah. But I'm gonna win. I just want to point out for everyone that doesn't think I'm going to be capable of finishing a video game, they're gonna be wrong. But luckily it's only because I work with some really nice people. Bake 1. Lowest of qualities. All the lighting will be out of place now. Now we have lots of blackness. Yeah, it's been lots of work to get here, but we've only started working on it. It's just 2 people right now. It's me and the coder. There's no one else been working on it. This is Bake 1, so this is the lowest of quality, so you'll see lots of like, you know, it's basically static lighting baked of 1 of 32 quality. Yeah, no, it's 2 people. And we've worked on this engine, I don't know how long, but I've been doing all the design documents and business meetings, so that's been the most of it. And then I kind of got bored and I was like, well, fuck, looking for investment, let's just make the game. So he flew to Sweden and we're just making the game. Yeah, either way, I think we'll start doing, once we get the first robot in and a website up, I'll start doing a Reborn show, and I'll probably open to donations, and anybody who donates will obviously get some perks with the game, and it will get finished. I'm not the kind of person that gives up, because developing games is way more fun than being an esport host, which is okay. You know, I like being an esport host, but it's not really as awesome as a day job. It's nice in the evenings to fuck around on camera. Yeah, there you go. Probably shouldn't have shown anybody anything. And because we're developing really fast right now, this will end up looking different in a week, and then 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks. So it doesn't mean anything right now. It just means that we're capable of. So it's the kind of what we can do with it. If I do a Kickstarter, I want to ask for a smaller amount of money because I don't need much to finish the game. Like I need time more than money, but you know, it's fine. Yeah, and this is specular lighting that's coming from one light, so it looks really weird. You know, it's like what the fuck? It's like it's meant to have specular lighting coming from all the lights, but we haven't. Like, you know, we're working on other stuff right now. Yeah. So I think we'll get a screenshot of the game when we've actually done some artwork up soon. and then you guys will see a little bit like what it could look like, and also the one of the robots will be done, hopefully. At least I'll get some concepts, and maybe not a high-res model. But yeah. And then you'll be able to shoot people in it, and it'll be fun. And then I'll take over esports one step at a time. For some reason it runs at 97 FPS, but it doesn't feel like 97 FPS, it feels like 5. Oh well. Let's Alt F for that. Yeah. Not really much to show. Unless you want to see 150,000 lines of code. Soundtrack. Soundtrack is more about, we put sounds in, but we want the community, if they want to do sounds. Well, not necessarily sounds, but soundtracks. I actually have 5 people that want to do soundtracks for us. So I'll be working with them before the game comes out. And some of them are really good. Like 2 of them are really cool. One of them does kind of rocky music, kind of like Quake, but with an electronic feel. He's from England. He's awesome. Another person does really cool electronic music, and he's from Stockholm. Another girl is from England that does a lot of really good RPG soundtracks. She's from UK. Yeah, I don't actually play League of Legends. And fuck man, I don't play Firefall, but I did have to check it out. I had to check out Warframe as well. For some reason, 13,000 concurrent players play Warframe. I played it. It's just confusing. It's like the menu systems are horrible. I kind of enjoyed it because I was really good. Because I'd like get like high accuracies. Yeah, I've got Apollo nudes over here. This is Apollo nude. That's Apollo's pillow. That's it really. I can't answer much about technical stuff because I sound like a bit of an idiot. Show you the code. Play Quake is what? Okay, I'm trying to catch up. Your desktop is cancer. Yeah, it's true. My desktop is pretty bad. I just kind of work on my desktop and then I clean that up every once in a while. This is like, I don't know, a month's work. And then I'll just like file it somewhere. Reborn physics, like different to Quake. Yeah. It's not like a Quake clone because that wouldn't be fun. And if I did a Quake clone in physics, the biggest problem would be is that all the Quake players would be the pro gamers, and you'd be like, that's not fun because maybe someone else wants to be a pro. So if I implement pretty much like strafe jumping exactly, all the Quake players would be the best players. So kind of that would be a shitty idea. My desktop's awesome. Oh, no. I think this game is moving pretty fast though, don't worry. And the good thing is, if I keep it low-key, don't take investment, and work off a small amount of money, I don't have to hide the project or worry about the financial income once you launch it, because I won't have an investor to pay back. I'll just have me, and I don't really care about money, as you probably realized, because I work in esports. I care about being able to do shit I like to do. Yeah, new movement mechanics are crucial for making this game fun. The thing is, like, even our physics now that we have in game aren't finalized, so there's no point talking about them, because once we get more work done, we'll be like, okay, this can change, this should be like this, okay, we've got too many buttons on the keyboard to press to do weird things with the movement, we need to reduce them because it feels like shit. So it's basically, you know, we know the direction we want to go, it's just how to get there is always going to change your idea of what your game was originally meant to be. I didn't talk to Paradox Interactive about Reborn. I spoke to an English investor and a Swedish. Yeah, Fox is involved. And Faz. We have a pretty nice team. We have, yeah, there's lots of people involved. To give you an idea, City has been helping us with some maps, or the idea of how, you know, to do maps, and some, like, you know, artwork for maps in the future. McCormick is helping us with particle effects. Ooze, a Quake 4 X Pro from Tallywell Games, is helping us with animations, or should be. That's where a lot of our $15,000 will go, to Tallywell Games. 2 artists from Tallywell will help us with modeling the robot and weapons. So Ooze plus Omar and Pepe. Memento Mori's been helping us with development methods in terms of how to develop things with certain features, etc. Fox and Faz have helping us with design. Who else has been helping us? I guess Baxter will be helping us with some concept art when he gets round to it. Wait, I have a Skype chat channel with everybody in it. McCormick. Yeah, that's it really. It's not much more to it than that. Bruno's just helping me keep sane and pushing me forward. And yeah, Firefrog, and you could say another. Nah, Noctis can't do shit. Alright. So, yeah. I'll try and get the artwork done over the next 2 months. I'll also try and get a website done. And then I'll try and do a Reborn show. And I'll see how much you guys like it. And I think I should go. Oh, it already runs on Windows and Linux, as far as I know. I'm not entirely sure because I'm not the main coder. But last time I checked, it was Windows and Linux. I don't know if it runs on Mac. I don't know how to know that because I'm stupid. But Firefrog will know. The robot's meant to be a little bit more sporty, because the movement should suggest that you can do stuff that a human can't. So not really too mechy, but there will be different robots with different game style plays. So one of them might be more heavier and will play a slower pace of gameplay rather than a faster, lighter robot. Yeah. So you guys have been pretty cool in chat, and I will leave you. And when the website comes up, you'll be able to read about what I'm actually trying to do in a well-scripted version, so when the mainstream look at it, they don't think I'm some crazy guy on Twitch TV. And I will continue doing what I do. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Hey, wait. Classes won't get to play against other classes. It's its own class. It's lightweight versus lightweight, medium versus medium, heavy versus heavy. So it's kind of like you get 4 games in a game. It won't be a mixture unless the mixture proves fun for a team arena. But otherwise, it's, you know, you play a fast mech versus a fast mech, or robot even. Yeah. Alright, thanks for wishing me luck. And I'll catch you guys another time. And thanks for being cool. Stay cool. And I have to find my off button. Here it is.